Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Hmm. Guess. Right, guess. Right, so I haven't been well for like a week now. I've had a viral infection, so I've had to do a lot of being on my own in order to not affect other people. Um, yeah, and it hasn't been nice, so to speak, because I'm a sort of person who, when I'm left alone, I tend to get lost in my thoughts. So yeah, it hasn't been easy. It's not been easy. But again, sometimes it's necessary to be in that sort of frame of mind, you know, um, and to contemplate on how I'm living. So yeah, it's not exactly an easy thing to do. Let's see, how do we do this? Post a comment, paste. And I should be able to pin it as well. Start. Um, yeah, I mean, the title is why I went live because for the past, I'd say two days, I've been feeling myself slipping back into my old habit of being in my thoughts for too long. What I do want to say is to a brother who reached, not even reached out, I reached out to him, and it was about Juma. And essentially, he said something to me, which at the time I was thinking to myself, nah, that's not true. And it was about depression and anxiety. And how I reached out to him was a case of I'll say who it was. This the Muslim lantern, the brother Muhammad Ali. May Allah be pleased with him and may He reward him with the highest level of Jannah, Jannat al Firdaus. Because he said something to me that I needed to hear. It was the case of him saying. So let's start from the beginning. I essentially what happened was I went on one of his lives where he does Q&As, and I started talking in the chat, and I said to him, I find it difficult due to my depression and anxiety, and I can't go to Juma. I find it very hard. And he said to me, that's not an excuse. This was his response. That's not an excuse. That doesn't get you off um, going to the masjid. And at the time, I was thinking to myself, what is this guy talking about? But obviously, I've had a lot of time to reflect on it. And he also said that depression is not real. Now, I know a lot of people are going to give me heat for this, but I have to say I agree with him. Now, how do I agree with him? I agree with him in the context that it's a state of mind. Yeah. Depression and anxiety is a state of mind, and it's a state of mind that we put ourselves in. Yeah. And there's a way of beating this state of mind. And in my opinion and my personal experiences, the way to beat this state of mind is to not let it overtake. Find something else. Like what I did, I gave myself straight to Allah. I gave myself fully to Allah. So what did I do? I started reciting Quran more. I was surrounding myself with good brothers, um, people who wanted to see me better myself. Think of this depression and anxiety like a frequency. Yeah, think of a radio. Now you got options on a radio, correct? You can change the station whenever you want. So the idea here is to, if you feel like you're going to a frequency or you're on a frequency, let's say you're on the frequency of depression and anxiety, grab a hold of that knob and change the frequency. Now there's ways you can do this. You can either start being more physical, as in exercising and so on and so forth, or like I said earlier, you can surround yourself with people who are on a completely different frequency, who don't even know that this frequency of depression and anxiety exists. So the idea here is to not fall into the trap, because it's a trap. I'll be real with you, as someone who's dealt with it for nearly 9 years of my life, I found out the hard way after getting to the point where all the people that I cared and loved for, and they cared and loved for me, I pushed them away. And I believe Muhammad Ali's comment, may Allah reward him with the highest level of Jannah, Jannah al-Firdaus. It was a big wake-up call for me, you know. I decided that I wasn't going to let it beat me, and I decided to switch that radio station, so to speak, and tune into something completely different, something that was positive. Because it is a very negative mindset that you get into it and then you can't get out of it, or you believe you can't get out of it. So you start to go into a spiral. Now, there's two ways this spiral can work, right? Or potentially it's one way, a spiral going down. Yeah. So what I had to do was find people who were oblivious to what was going on in my life and focus on the positives. Yeah. Which is what I did, alhamdulillah. By the permission of Allah, I started to focus on the positives, and due to that, I feel like I'm in a much, much better place mentally than I ever have been in my life. Now, there's something which I didn't mention at the time to the brother Muhammad Ali, or anyone else for that matter. I was smoking. I was smoking a lot of cannabis. May Allah forgive me, which He has, alhamdulillah. And that was not helping me. It was not helping me in the slightest bit. But again, I was in tune to a certain frequency. And that frequency was me feeding this energy to myself and saying how me smoking cannabis was helping me. Can you imagine? I'm smoking, and the more I'm smoking, the more I'm falling into this spiral. And alhamdulillah, I haven't touched it for over 3 months now. By the permission of Allah, I prayed to Allah so much, yeah, when I was smoking, and I was saying to him, Ya Rab, please give me a way out. Please give me a way out. Give me a way to stop smoking this. Because I knew it wasn't doing me any good. I knew it wasn't doing me any good. And I managed to, by the permission of Allah, give it up. And in turn, giving that up, making that sacrifice of no longer smoking, put me in a better headspace, and in turn putting myself in a better headspace made me stronger in myself, because I wasn't relying on this. I was using it like a crutch. Do you know what I mean? And how I was saying to myself that it's working, it's good for me. You know, when I smoke, I don't feel depressed. When I smoke, I don't feel anxious. No, because I didn't need to do that. I didn't need to do that. All I had to do was get closer to Allah. By getting closer to Allah, I pushed away this filth from my life, because that's what it is. All it was doing was putting a veil over my mind and my eyes. Yeah. So essentially, it was making me think. At the time, I'm smoking. Yeah. Ooh, I'm feeling numb to what reality. Do you know what I mean? I was completely numb to reality. Um, but I had people around me at the time when I was smoking who were saying, "Look, when you don't smoke, you're depressed. When you don't smoke, you get anxiety," and so on and so forth. But again, I don't blame them, because they didn't know any better. They hadn't seen me not smoking. Do you know what I mean? Um, and now that these individuals have seen me not smoking, they've openly said to me, "Wow, like you're a completely different person. Mentally, you're stronger. Physically, you look brilliant. Like you haven't got bags under your eyes. Like you're you're a different person." Alhamdulillah. So now I'm trying to promote this idea of weed is not the way forward. Like if you suffer with depression or anxiety, don't get into the habit of smoking weed, because it is not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. All it does is dumb you down. Yeah, literally dumbs you down, and there's no two ways about it. It makes you feel like when you've got the weed, you're good, so to speak. But when the weed is gone, or when there's no weed there, or when there's very little weed there, it affects you in a negative way. Do you understand what I mean by that? So what I had to do was make dua to Allah to give me the strength to get past that stage. Um, and imagine once I got past it, the stage of craving, because you will crave it, believe it, you will crave it. And that's when you got to get really close to Allah. Like you got to ask Him to give you the strength to keep pushing forward. Remember, He tests us. And I believe this weed was a big test for me. And Alhamdulillah, I'm no longer relying on it. I rely upon Allah Azza wa Jalla and Allah Azza wa Jalla alone. So make sure that if you feel like you're depressed, you're anxious, or anything of that nature, that you do not fall into the trap of smoking weed, because it's not going to benefit you. Take it from someone who smoked for over 9 years, well over 9 years. Alhamdulillah, I gave it up. Like I said, the people that were around me at the time when I was smoking, bless them, they didn't know any better. They were saying to me, "Look, when you don't smoke or when you ain't got weed, you're depressed, you're anxious. But when you got it there, it helps you, it benefits you." No, don't fall into that. Don't fall into that, because it doesn't benefit you. It's no good for your pocket. It's no good for your pocket. It's no good for your mental well-being or your physical well-being. Do you get it? And a lot of the um, media and research out there is trying to portray weed as a good thing for people who suffer with depression and anxiety. It's not. Take it from someone who smoked for 9 years, well over 9 years. It is not. It is not. It is not. It's not even. I can't explain. Like, I haven't smoked for over 3 months, maybe more, and I feel so strong, like physically and mentally. The strength that I have right now is amazing, and it's due to Allah. All thanks and praises to Allah for helping me get through this test, and I'm so grateful that I managed to give it up because I feel stronger for it. And if I keep getting close to Allah, I'm gonna get stronger and stronger, inshallah. I would have liked to get someone on to hear what they think about it, but I don't think there's anyone who's gonna join. I've had one or two people viewing, but I don't know, they keep leaving. Allahu alam. If you feel like you want to come on and add something, feel free to join. Feel free to email me at rkntoweruk@gmail.com. Let me see if I can post that for you. Like if you're suffering with depression or anxiety, feel free to get at me. Yeah, like I said, try to surround yourself with people who want what's good for you, so to speak. Because depression is no joke, in a sense of once you get into that state of mind, it's very hard to leave that. It's very hard to come out of that mind frame. And a good way of doing it is getting close to Allah, reading Quran. As Allah tells us, the Quran is a shifa, it's a cure for everything. Yeah, never forget that. Alhamdulillah for Islam, and Alhamdulillah for Allah Azza wa Jal guiding me to the one true path, the Sirat al-Mustaqim, the straight path. It's not been easy. It's not been an easy journey. I was tested time and time again, and I feel like I failed some tests. But the one test that I did pass was this one. So stay strong, my brothers and sisters. If you suffer with depression or anxiety, all you need is good people around you who want what's good for you. And if there's anyone around you who's trying to promote, I won't say weed, but things that will cloud your judgment, avoid it and try to avoid them to a certain extent. Obviously, give them the benefit of the doubt. Explain to them how you feel that it's best if you don't indulge in anything that is going to cloud your judgment or cloud your mind. Yeah, that could be alcohol, that could be other drugs like ecstasy, whatever other drugs there is, cocaine, I don't know. Any form of drugs. It's not just weed. Try not to rely on any of these things. Try to rely upon the words of Allah Azza wa Jal. The Quran is all you need in your life. Once you get to that stage in your life where you're not relying on anything but Allah, you're in a good place. Wallahi billahi tillah, you're in a good place. It's a shame I had no one to hop on though. Maybe next time, inshallah. Make sure you share this with anyone who suffers with depression and anxiety, and try and show people that they don't need anything but God in their life. Allah is all we need. Wa alaikum salam. Oh, also before I go, if you can share this with the brother Muhammad Ali from the Muslim Lantern. Jazakallah khair to you, Ahki. You gave me that push that I needed. So I appreciate you for that. I appreciate you for that. May Allah reward you with the highest level of Jannah, Jannah al-Firdaus. Ameen Ya Rabbi. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.